What if the very thing you think is helping you succeed is actually the poison killing your personal growth? Your constant need to be seen is building a prison, not a real one, a mental one. And you're the one holding the keys, handing them to strangers who don't even know your name. Here's the truth. The most powerful version of you isn't forged on a stage. It's forged in silence, in the desert, long before you ever reach Canaan. Look, you've been told the opposite your whole life. Be seen or be forgotten. Post your progress. Show your grind. Stay visible or stay irrelevant. That's a lie. Every time you announce your discipline before you finish the work, you cash in the reward early. You get the applause. You lose the transformation. That's the trade nobody warned you about. Why? Because a man who needs to be seen doing the work isn't focused on the work. He's focused on the crowd. Applause fades. Character doesn't. Real talk. Some men chase visibility their whole lives and never build anything real underneath it. Soft men need an audience to feel strong. A high-value man doesn't. Weak men crave witnesses. Strong men don't need one. In this video, we're going to cover 4 things that show you why silence, not exposure, is what actually builds a dangerous, unshakable man. 4 things most men never figure out because they're too busy performing for people who don't even matter. Here's why this matters right now. That mental prison you're living in, it's already cost you months, maybe years. Think about it. How many goals have you announced and never finished? How many day ones have you posted only to quit by day 10? That's not an accident. That's the prison at work. Every day you spend chasing applause is a day you're not spending becoming who you're supposed to be. Most men will never slow down long enough to see this. They'll keep performing, keep posting, keep needing the nod from strangers. But you're here. That already tells me something about you. This isn't going to be comfortable. Good. Keep watching. Let's get started. Number 1. The reward you already spent. This is the one nobody wants to hear first. Because it means some of you have already lost something you don't even know is gone. Here's the mechanism. Every reward can only be cashed once. Announce your discipline, and people clap. That clap is the payment. It feels good. It feels like progress. But it's not the reward for finishing. It's the reward for talking. And once you cash it, the real payout, the one that was supposed to come from actually finishing, is already spent. Think about a courtroom. A lawyer doesn't win by announcing he's working hard on the case. He wins by delivering the verdict. Talk means nothing to a judge. Only the result does. The same applies to you. The world doesn't hand out a second reward for effort you already got applauded for. Play this out in real life. You start the diet, and by day 2, you've told 6 people. You feel disciplined already. The compliments roll in. Good for you. Proud of you. That feeling? It's real. But it's not coming from the diet working. It's coming from the compliments. Your brain can't always tell the difference between the two, and that's exactly the problem. You get the emotional payout of success without doing the part that actually makes you successful. Same thing happens with money. A man closes half a deal, tells his buddies he's about to close big, and basks in the nod he gets back. Then the deal falls through a week later. He's not just out the deal, he already spent the reward that was supposed to come with closing it. Now there's nothing left to feel good about when it actually happens, if it happens at all. Power under control looks different. It looks like doing the work with nobody watching and staying quiet about it until it's done. Not because secrecy is magic, because silence keeps the reward intact until you've actually earned it. A man of God doesn't need an audience to know his worth. He already knows who's watching. That's enough collateral to work without a crowd. Here's the trade you keep making without noticing. You post the goal, you get the likes. Your brain marks it handled. Motivation drops. The goal dies quietly, weeks later, and you don't even remember why. Every man watching this has done it. The question isn't whether you've made this trade. It's whether you're going to keep making it. Stop trading your future for a 5-second high. That's the whole game. Number 2, the authority you were born with. Some men chase validation because deep down, they don't believe they're worth anything until someone else says so. That belief is a lie, and it's costing you more than you think. Here's the root of it. You were made in the image of the living God, not a copy of some other man, not an accident of biology. Stamped with the likeness of the one who spoke the world into existence before you ever earned a single thing. That's not a compliment. That's a fact about your design. And a man built in that image doesn't go begging strangers to confirm he's worth something. Picture a young stallion born on a ranch. Nobody has to vote on whether he's a horse. Nobody has to approve his strength. He was born with it. He doesn't ask the herd for permission to run, and he doesn't slow down waiting for applause before he does. You were given authority the same way, not earned through likes, not granted by strangers. Built into you from the start, dominion over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the ground under your feet. Purpose, the ability to provide and protect, all of it wired into your design before anyone was watching you do anything. Here's where it gets practical. Authority you already have doesn't need to be announced to be real. A landowner doesn't post a sign every morning reminding the property it belongs to him. He just walks it, manages it, protects it. The land already knows whose it is. Your life works the same way. You don't need to keep announcing who you are for it to be true. Weak men beg the crowd for permission to be strong. High-value men already know they have it, and they spend their energy building instead of campaigning for approval. Why does this matter? Because a man who's still asking the crowd for approval hasn't accepted what was already given to him. He's out here negotiating for something he already owns, like a rich man checking with strangers to see if he's allowed to spend his own money. Stop asking. Start walking in it. That's 2 down, 2 to go. And the next one is where most men get it completely backwards. Number 3, the desert doesn't play by Egypt's rules. This is the one most men get backwards. Stick with me here. This changes everything about how you see your current season. You know that old story about a people who walked out of slavery and had to cross a desert before they ever reached the good land? Most men treat it like a Sunday story, something for church, not for life. It's not a story, it's a manual. And almost nobody reads it that way. Here's what nobody tells you. The rules that worked back in slavery don't work in the desert. And the rules that'll work once you finally arrive in the good land don't work in the desert either. The desert runs on its own logic, a different logic. Break that logic, and you don't just struggle out there, you die. Think about a soldier crossing enemy territory. In friendly territory, he walks in daylight. He talks loud. He moves fast. He announces his position without a second thought because nobody's hunting him. But cross into enemy ground, and every one of those same habits gets him killed. Now, he moves at night. He stays low. He goes quiet. Not because he's scared, because the terrain demands it. Ignore that shift, and the enemy finds him before he ever reaches safety. The same applies to you. In that old desert crossing, the people rested when the sun was highest, so the heat wouldn't kill them. They moved when the sky went dark, so the cold wouldn't kill them either. Backwards from normal life. Completely backwards. But it kept them alive long enough to make it out. Try applying regular daylight logic to a desert like that, and you don't get further along. You get a body left in the sand. Your life has a season just like that. Call it your desert. Maybe it's rebuilding your finances after a failure you're still ashamed of. Maybe it's fixing a body you've neglected for years. Maybe it's repairing what's broken with your family, or getting right with God after a long stretch of running from Him. Whatever it is, the world is screaming the same advice at you it screams at everyone else. Be seen, post it, stay visible, sell yourself. Here's the problem. That advice is Egypt logic. Or it's Canaan logic, advice built for a man who's already arrived, already built something, already has results worth showing. You're not there yet. Apply Canaan logic in the middle of your own desert, and you'll burn out long before you ever reach it. Why? Because visibility in the desert doesn't build you, it drains you. Every announcement, every "here's my progress" post, every flex before the work is finished, that's you standing out in the sun at high noon, exactly when the terrain told you to rest. You're not being bold. You're being reckless with the one resource you can't get back. A dangerous man doesn't operate that way. He goes quiet, when quiet is what the season calls for. Soft men need the world watching to feel like they're moving. A dangerous man moves whether anyone's watching or not, and he moves at the right time, not the popular time. He fears God, not the opinion of men who'll forget his name by next week. This is where a man gets kingdom-minded, not loud faith, not performance faith. Just a man on his knees, where nobody sees him, doing the unglamorous work of becoming someone. Bent knees before an audience of one. That's it. That's the whole posture. So what does this actually look like? Not tomorrow's mood, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, you don't post the workout. You just do it. Tomorrow morning, you don't announce the prayer plan to make sure somebody noticed the effort. You kneel alone before the coffee's even made. Tomorrow morning, you don't text the group chat about the new diet. You make the food. You eat it. Nobody claps. Good. Tomorrow morning, when that itch shows up, the one that wants a witness, a like, a nod from somebody, that's your signal. That's the desert testing you right there in real time. Stay quiet in that exact moment. Don't reach for the phone. Don't reach for the audience. That's the whole discipline, repeated one morning at a time until it's just who you are. And here's what most men miss about that itch. It doesn't show up once. It shows up every single day, sometimes 10 times before breakfast. The desert doesn't test you with one dramatic moment. It tests you with 1,000 small, boring ones, moments nobody will ever know about unless you tell them. That's the whole point. Nobody's supposed to know yet. Here's the one exception to everything you just heard. This isn't about performing for a crowd. Iron sharpens iron, and that only works if men actually show each other the blade. If you've got a story like this one, a desert season, a fight nobody saw, a moment you almost quit and didn't, drop it in the comments below. Not for the likes, not for a nod from strangers. Do it so the next man scrolling through, carrying this same weight alone, sees he's not the only one carrying it. Men don't grow by hiding every scar from each other. We grow by comparing them, quietly, man to man, and finding out we were never as alone as we thought. Real talk, you don't owe the crowd a progress report. You don't owe them your diet, your grind, your prayer life, your setbacks, or your comeback. You owe that work to the God who already sees it, and to the man you're building underneath it. That's a debt paid in silence, not in captions. Here's the kicker. The desert isn't punishment, it's preparation. But it only works if you follow its logic instead of dragging Egypt's habits or Canaan's into it. Most men fail here, not because the desert is too hard. They fail because they keep trying to survive it with rules built for somewhere else entirely. That's a deeper conversation for another video. The difference between a man who performs discipline for a crowd and a man who actually has it, alone, where nobody's clapping. Hold on to that thought. It matters more than you think. For now, here's what you need to remember. Wrong logic in the right season still gets you killed out there. Right logic, even when it's uncomfortable, gets you through it in one piece. Stay quiet when the season says quiet. Move when the season says move. That's the whole game. But the last one, the one most men completely miss, is the difference between surviving the desert and actually dying in it, in sight of the good land the entire time. And the last one, The one most men completely miss: the men who die in sight of the land. Here's the part of that old story almost nobody talks about. The desert crossing wasn't supposed to take 40 years. It was supposed to take 11 days. 11. But an entire generation walked in circles for 4 decades and never made it to the good land. Not because the land wasn't real. Not because the road was too hard. They died within sight of it. Why? They kept the same habits the whole way through. Same complaints, same fear, same posture they had back in slavery, just carried into a different location. They changed their address. They never changed themselves. And that's what killed them out there, not the desert. The zigzag. Think about a fighter in the ring who trains the right moves for years but never actually changes his footwork in a real fight. He knows the combination. He's drilled it 1,000 times. But when the bell rings, he falls back into the same broken stance every single time. He's not losing because he doesn't know better. He's losing because knowing and changing are 2 different things. The same applies to you. Watch that same fighter after the loss. He doesn't blame his footwork. He blames the ref. He blames the lighting. He blames a bad night's sleep. Anything except the one thing that's actually true: he never drilled the new stance until it became automatic. He kept the old one because the old one was comfortable, even while it kept losing him fights. Most men do the exact same thing with their lives. They blame the economy, the algorithm, their upbringing, their bad luck, anything except the habit sitting right there in plain sight, the one they've refused to change for years. You can know everything in this video and still die in your own desert. You can understand the reward trap. You can understand your authority. You can even understand the logic of silence. None of it matters if you keep dragging the same habits, the same excuses, the same need for applause into a season that demands something different from you. A dangerous man doesn't get this wrong. He doesn't confuse "I'm aware of the problem" with "I fix the problem." Soft men collect insight and call it progress. Strong men let insight actually change their hands, their schedule, their mouth, their knees. That's the real gap between information and self-mastery. And self-mastery is just mental toughness, practiced one boring morning at a time. So, what does the change actually look like starting now? It's not a new personality, it's a new footwork, 1 rep at a time. It's catching yourself mid-scroll, reaching for approval that isn't yours to chase, and closing the app instead. It's choosing the quiet obedience over the loud announcement, one more time than yesterday. Small, boring, repeated. That's self-discipline, not a feeling, a rep. That's what walking out of the zigzag actually looks like. Not a dramatic exit, just one different choice at a time, made consistently enough that it becomes who you are. Here's the hard part. The time in your desert isn't long. It was never supposed to be long. Long is what happens when you refuse to change while you're in it. 11 days versus 40 years. Same distance, same land, waiting on the other side. The only variable was whether they let the place change them. So ask yourself, are you still running Egypt's habits in a body that's supposed to be headed to Canaan? Same comfort, same scrolling, same need to be seen, same excuses dressed up as patience? Real talk. Nobody's coming to drag you out of that loop. You do it, or you stay in it. Stay dangerous enough to change what actually needs changing, not what looks good changing. That's how a man builds something worth calling an iron legacy. Not by wandering longer, but by letting the silence finally do its work. You don't need the crowd to cross this. You never did. You just need to stop walking in circles. You've got 4 things now. Not to memorize, to live. Put it together, and here's who you become. A man who doesn't need a crowd to know his own worth. A man whose discipline is real, not rented from applause for an afternoon. A man who understands his own season, Quiet when quiet is called for. Moving when it's time to move, not performing either one for an audience. This is how you become the man you were meant to be, not by announcing it, by building it. That mental prison from the start of this video, the one built out of needing to be seen, you don't have to live in it. You were never actually locked in. You just kept handing people the key. Put it down. Stop handing it over. Here's the thing about that key. Nobody's going to take it from your hand. You have to set it down yourself. Nobody's going to announce that you're free. That's the whole point of everything you just heard. Freedom that requires an announcement isn't freedom yet. That's the whole shift in the end. Quiet on the outside, dangerous on the inside. A man walking toward his own Canaan on purpose, not wandering in circles, waiting for someone to notice he's trying. Nobody has to notice. That was never the point. The land doesn't ask who saw you cross the desert. It just asks if you made it. By the way, if this hit something in you, hit like and subscribe so the next one finds you when you need it. Until next time.